It's the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show, brought to you by Stock Car Steel and Aluminum and SRI Supplies. Here's tonight's Speed 77 Radio Race Chaser Online crew chief, Tom Baker.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another Thursday night of Motorsports Conversation here on the Performance Motorsports Network. You are listening to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show. I am Tom Baker, along with my co-hosts for the evening at the round table. First of all, we'll introduce Jacob Seelman, who's the managing editor of our Race Chaser online website, Motorsports News site. Jacob, welcome to the program. Good to be back with you on a Thursday night as we get closer and closer to the holidays.
Yeah, it's great to be back, and I will say the managing editor title gave me a workout today, Tom.
Sure did.
A ton of news to get through, and a lot of it we'll cover right here on this Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show. Just a mountain of different announcements from the performance racing industry PRI trade show up in Indianapolis. We'll get to multiple of those different little tidbits as we go throughout this show. We've got the Snowball Derby to wrap up, a couple of guys that were in that race to talk to, and of course still some stuff here that definitely is going to make tonight for a very fun show. We got 2 hours worth of content, Tom, and I say we go ahead and get started. Kyle Magda's over there sitting in the shadows too.
Yeah, well, he's not. We're gonna put the spotlight on him here for a minute. Kyle Magda, who's our assistant editor at Race Chaser Online. Happy to have you back on a Thursday night, Kyle. And as Jacob said, lots of good stuff tonight to talk about news-wise. And on top of that, we've got some great driver guests too. A lot of Snowball Derby talk and just a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, great to be back, guys. And there's just so much stuff with the Snowball Derby coming up. And then, like you said, the holidays, or actually Christmas is 2 weeks away, which I can't believe. And there's just so much stuff coming on. And we have so much to hit on tonight in these 2 hours.
We really do. So as Jacob said, let's get started. First of all, I want to start with something that I saw today. Actually, our colleagues at Speed 51 had it on their news wire today and caught wind of it. And I got to tell you, I am just totally blown away by this because I have been in discussions with people for 3, 4, 5 years now. Different conversations that you have and talk always comes to, what would make a great racing series that currently isn't one. And it always comes back to, whether it's been me saying it or someone else in our conversation saying it, it always somehow comes back to street stocks. Well, Circle Track, which is, of course, the number one source for advanced racing technology, has brought a street stock series to the landscape for 2015, a street stock touring series. But this is not just any street stock touring series, guys. They're calling this the Great American Racing Series. And this series, of which they're going to announce a full schedule soon. It's going to be announced during Speed Weeks in Florida, but they're kicking it off at Salem Speedway, of all places, in Indiana, is going to have a purse per race of $30,000, with $5,000 going to the winner. And that is obviously making them the richest street stock series in the world. Jacob Seelman, you and I have been around this sport a long time. And whether we're on dirt or we're on pavement, whether you were kind of chuckling at the street stock class or whether you were just digging on the street stock class at your local track, you're watching them. They put on some of the best races. And now finally we're going to get a street stock series that I've got a feeling this is going to draw huge car counts.
I have a feeling that you may just be right, Tom, and let's clarify a little bit. Each race going to have a purse of $30,000, $5,000 to win.
Correct.
And the championship going to pay out $10,000 to whoever wins the season-long points championship. If that doesn't get you excited about street stock racing, I'll say it simply. You're crazy.
Yeah,
This is more money than a street stock competitor would usually see in about 2 years. And they're
Or a
giving it out
lifetime.
over the course. Yeah, that too. And they're giving it out over the course of a season. I love this concept. I think this Great American Racing Series, boy, if they promote this right, it could become just that. Guys coming from all over the place to run some of these races. I mean, you talk about the Midwest, even some of the Southeast guys. I mean, there are hotbeds of street stock racing just about wherever you look. If they do this correctly, I think that there is so much potential behind this gig that it could be scary. And you're absolutely right. Kicking off May the 9th at Salem Speedway, and what better place to kick it off? That track, and I will say I've been in attendance at one or two of their street stock races in the past in combination with some other big shows up there at Salem. That track's built for just beating and banging and great short track racing. The street stocks always put fantastic shows on there. Frank Kimmel's series has shown it, and it's a great venue to kick it off, and I can't wait to see what they do with it. I want to see this full schedule, Tom, during Speed Weeks, because if you pick a venue as good as Salem to kick it off, I hope there's some good tracks to follow it, because Salem itself is a hard act to follow, as we've seen in the past.
It's definitely a lot of money to pay out for a street stock series, and I know they're going to get huge car counts. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this works out. It's just, I love this concept, and I can't wait. Like you, I can't wait to see what the rest of the schedule looks like. So that's one of the items that was in the news today. Another newsworthy item comes out of the Cars Tour, which we've been talking about on and off for a few weeks. Of course, Cars, formerly Cars Pro Cup Series, now the Cars Tour, running late model stocks and super late models on the same card at 10 different events in 2015, paying good money for both, based out of the Southeast here, and Stephen Wallace making his return to the racetrack for the 2015 super late model half of the Cars Tour. He is going to be racing out of the Rusty Wallace Racing shops with a super late model operation that will be supported by jet fuel, which is really interesting. That was announced today at the PRI show. So good to see Steve getting back on the track. And again, just interesting that he's coming back to super late model racing, and the Cars Tour getting what is a relatively big name driver back. He ran the old Pro Cup Series, guys, but first time that he'll be back in the Cars Tour in a little while, and of course now it's a super late model and late model series, so he's going to run the super late model portion.
Yeah, I mean, and that's really interesting. And Jet Tools picking up the sponsorship at that number 66 car, which
Jet Tools.
Jet Fuel. Tom, you might like to find some jet fuel.
But the bifocals aren't working right tonight.
Jet Tools, though, I mean, it's a brand that I don't think a lot of people have probably heard about. It's one that I actually had to look up when it was announced today, but definitely a sponsor that's focused on innovation, and definitely a very technologically driven sponsor. And for those guys, and especially a name like Stephen Wallace, to pick up a big sponsor, commit to the Cars Tour, that gives them a little bit of star power now, Kyle Magda, and that's what this Cars group's really trying to build for 2015, because they come in where there's no competition on the late model stock side, but there is competition on the super late model side, and if you can start to build that identity with a couple of big names, it certainly will give you a little bit of an added punch. And for Stephen Wallace, too, I mean, we've not seen a whole lot of him since he left the NASCAR days mostly behind. I mean, the last time I saw Steven show up was oddly enough at the last Pro Cup event at Hickory. So, Kyle, it's one of those things where maybe a little bit of a renaissance for Steven getting back to what he started on in the short tracks.
Yeah, we haven't seen him really, like you said, Jacob, on the NASCAR circuit. I think his last race was at Charlotte the one year, either in 2012 or 2013 in the May race. So it's been a while. But yeah, I mean, this series could definitely serve as a springboard up to maybe ARCA or even NASCAR ranks, if one desires. So there's just so many things that this series can provide, and all the tracks that they run on as well, like Hickory, and I think Orange County as well, just some more tracks. I mean, Jacob, you would know that, but there's just so much diversity with that. I mean, with them going down, of course, not being with the Pro Cup style cars, but back to the super late models, and then those series merging together, there's just so much that this series can offer for up-and-coming drivers.
Really interesting. The Cars Super Late Model Tour, along with the Cars Late Model series, that should be a lot of fun to watch. Good to see Steve Wallace back on the track, and I can tell you, I have watched Steve Wallace run a late model stock numerous times. Now, this is a super late model, but same general idea. Short track late models, we'll leave it at that, and it is never boring.
No.
Steve brings a style of driving that is never boring, and we'll just leave it right there. That's going to be it's going to be fun to watch, and I hope those guys do well with that series. And certainly the fact that somebody like Steve is feeling like it's a good opportunity to get back in, and it's good to see Jet Tools climbing aboard there, because again, we need sponsors in short track racing. And so, guys, I think we just, with these two announcements that we've just talked about, I think we're definitely seeing that there are some series in short track racing that are getting some attention. Now, the street stock announcement obviously is fairly hot off the press here today, but I think all of this bodes well for short track racing. When you start seeing new series like this, new concepts, a lot of money being paid out, sponsors like Jet Tools getting involved, this is really, really good stuff for short track racing, and I like it.
I really like it, Tom. It's one of those things where I don't think we've seen a lot of really good quality announcements coming out of the short track ranks here of late. It's a situation where it helps revive the ranks a little bit.
Sure,
I mean, we've seen how hard the economics have been on the grassroots levels of racing, and it's just made it so difficult for some of these series. And we've seen a lot of series fold over the last 5 or 10 years. And just to have some of this starting to work in the favor of the short tracks again, get some of these guys back involved, get sponsors back involved, it can only lead to good things, Tom. And not just for the short tracks, but then for those announcements where guys are looking for places to go, it leads to good things for the national ranks too, by association over the long haul, as well as we're seeing with some of the other news that we'll get to here in just a little bit as well.
Oh, yeah, no question. Well, and along the street stock idea, there is a street stock series that was started this past year and ran a race or two up in the New England area, and that is trying to get started as well, the Northeast Street Stock Tour. I think it's called something along those lines. And so I know they're looking to build themselves up a little bit more in 2015, and having this other series now that's just come in really validates that concept. So hopefully
Absolutely.
Now the Northeast Street Stock Series will be able to kind of use that as an example and say, hey, this is what we want to be. And maybe they'll be able to fire up some corporate interest. I mean, honestly, guys, street stock racing is the most basic form of stock car racing on the planet. Yeah. And I can't believe it has taken this long for somebody to come up with this concept. I mean, the only danger here is they need to make sure that they keep a good set of rules to keep it affordable. Because you and I both know, guys, we all know what happens when you put big money up. You start getting big money people wrenching on cars, building motors. All of a sudden now and you can start to drive the cost up if they don't keep the rules in check. So let's hope that stays the case and that we don't end up with street stocks that cost as much as super late models do, because it shouldn't be that. It should be a street stock series. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we will. And I think right after a few words, Tom, we are going to come back and continue going through a lot of news from today. We'll hit on some regional touring series news, get to some big announcements on the driver and team sides there, and talk up even more here on the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show. So stay tuned. We're back right after this on the Performance Motorsports Network.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
In the Pits Media is proud to present its newest partner, WinYourNewCar.com. That's right, you now can enter the #1 American Dream Car Contest giveaway at WinYourNewCar.com. Complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free, delivered to your door. Come on, stop dreaming, start driving with WinYourNewCar.com.
Car problems? You can trust your local Cotman man. Cotman has a 40-year history as a leader in car repair and making happy, satisfied customers. Whatever's wrong with your car, SUV, or truck, Cotman will check it out free using state-of-the-art diagnostic equipment. Don't take chances with your car. Bring it to Cotman and let your local Cotman man show you why they are America's transmission and total auto care experts. Visit Cotman.com to download money-saving coupons. Cotman. Real service, real fast.
You know that phone call is going to come at the worst possible time, right in the end of the game. Fourth quarter, fourth down, and 1 yard to go. They're piling up, but you can't watch that. You got to get that car off the road. This could have been prevented if you have taken advantage of Cotman's free TransCheck 21. Here's a chance to have us look at your car and head off any problems that could happen that could interrupt that game. Again, it's a free check. Come see us.
See Leonard and fine folks at Cotman of Manassas, 9113 Mathis Avenue in Manassas. Give them a call at 703-365-7200.
Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed. Learn how at www.ready.gov. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Ad Council.
If you're a gearhead, you probably go online to those hot rod superstores, drooling over the chrome and speed goodies until you find just the right item for your muscle car, tuner car, truck. But what do you do when it comes to fixing the mom mobile? If you're like most do-it-yourselfers, you head to the strip mall parts store and talk to the "Do you want fries with that?" kid behind the counter. Hold on, Bunky. Did you stop to think where those chain stores are getting the parts that you're installing in the vehicle that's used to transport your family everywhere? They get the cheapest suppliers they can find to sell you the parts at bargain prices. Their limited lifetime warranties? What a joke. Remember the last time Mom's car broke down? You heard about that one for weeks. Don't take that chance again. Excelsior Racing has the quality parts you need for your family vehicle. Parts that you can install knowing you're getting the best for your family. Excelsior Racing. Quality parts, personalized service, affordable pricing, fast to you direct. Excelsior Racing. Online at excelsiorracing.com or call 502-909-2034.
Hi everybody, this is Getty Lee for RAD. To many of us, drunk driving is something that other people do. Certainly not one of our friends or relatives would do such a thing. When you see someone who's had too much to drink, about to get into a car, urge them to give up the keys and find alternate transportation. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives, you should too.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
It's time to catch up on the latest from the New England racing scene on the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show. Here's Tom Baker and Kyle Souza.
Welcome back to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show. Tom Baker with you on a Thursday night, along with Jacob Seelman and Kyle Magda tonight, talking motorsports and been talking some short track stuff. Let's switch gears just for a moment, guys, because this has been an unusually full news day and really news week in the NASCAR circles. And you know, all of this Turner Scott Motorsports stuff that's been going on. I mean, if you think about this past season, we had 4 or 5 K&N teams, and you know, we had a couple of truck teams, and we had a nationwide team, and then we have now that they end up having some issues, and Steve Turner and
Harry
Scott are still settling those issues in court. I'm trying to choose my words carefully here, but meanwhile, while that's going on, you think, well, the organization seems to be shrinking away.
Not quite.
not so. We comes the announcement today that we got 4 K&M Pro Series East teams being run out of under the H. Scott Motorsports banner, and a new partner for that piece of the operation who comes in but Justin Marks.
Yeah, wow. That's a name that I was not expecting in this at all. Tom, that's one of those moments where you go, wait, who again? Oh yeah, him. But that was a big announcement for Justin Marks to come in and support this deal with Harry Scott, and to keep 4 of what they had 5 K&N teams last year, keeping 4 of them around and bringing in 3 new drivers. That's a really, really, really big deal. You've got Scott Heckert coming back for another season with the team, and then you add in 3 guys who really come from, in a lot of ways, similar walks of the motorsports world. For 2015, you've got J.J. Haley, who we'll hear from a little later on in the program, who comes from a JEG CRA All-Star Tour background in the Midwest and ran some ARCA races and now gets a shot in the K&N East Series. You've got Dalton Sargent, who shocked the world with a runner-up effort in the Snowball Derby, and has just only run late models for his first full season here in the U.S. in 2014 after coming back over here from Europe. And you've got William Byron, who comes over from the Junior Motorsports late model program to run a full season in the K&N East Series. So it's a very young crowd over there at H. Scott for 2015. And Kyle Magda, who is covering for the missing Kyle Souza, who is off in exam land tonight, yay finals week. Magda, this is one of those where you and I both looked at this and went, well, the championship for the K&N East Series just got a little bit more complicated next year.
I was kind of surprised by the announcement, actually. I didn't think somebody would step up to do that, like Justin Marks. I mean, with the uncertainty of Turner Scott Motorsports, I wasn't sure if they were going to have their K&N East teams back. But of course, with that announcement today, you have 4 drivers racing for them. Of course, with Scott Heckert coming back, and then, like you said, the other 3 as well. So I think that's a good move for them. And I'll tell you what, Jacob, I think Scott Heckert has a really good chance next year at possibly being a threat to the championship, because it took him a little bit, but by the Iowa race in May, finishing 3rd, running up front, and then, of course, the back-to-back wins at Watkins Glen and VIR. I mean, I think he is starting to peak and getting that opportunity with the team last year, and then, of course, returning this year. I think it's only good things for him, and also for J.J. Haley as well, finishing 7th in the finale at Dover. I think with the experience he got last year with the ARCA car, with Venerini Motorsports, and then going over running a few K&N races, that's really going to propel him next season to contend for Rookie of the Year. And then, of course, like you said, with Dalton Sargent running the Waters Motorsports car at the Snowball Derby, I think getting that great finish really helped him a lot. And then, of course, you have William Byron, who pretty much will be in, I guess if you want to say, Hendrick equipment, going over to H. Scott Motorsports with Justin Marks,
which is more Hendrick equipment.
Yeah, it's go ahead, Jacob.
Oh, I was gonna bounce over to you on this one. Am I the only one that's excited to see what J.J. Haley can do with a full season? I mean, the kid has not run for a championship since quarter midgets. I'm excited about this, and he's excited about this. I don't think he's stopped bubbling since the press release came out. It's great.
Well, we don't normally bring guests on 2 weeks in a row, but it was definitely an opportunity tonight to bring JJ back because of this announcement. We actually were scheduled to have Dalton Sargent, and then he couldn't arrive at the last moment. So when they canceled late, we just went and got his new teammate JJ Haley to come back because we really did want to talk with one of the drivers from this new arrangement about what's going on over there with this new quartet of racers, and JJ will be a great one to talk to. Yeah, I agree. I mean, he certainly, JJ is a driver that we of course have watched all year, just mature and mature and mature. Some great runs in the ARCA series, and I think JJ is one of these drivers that you put anything with four wheels and a motor underneath him, and he just gets in and drives it. He's really got an innate amount of talent, and he's just a very personable young man too. This is an interesting group because you've got JJ, who certainly has some street cred with what he did this year. You've got Scott Heckert, who is you might say the returning veteran of the group. And then you've got two guys who really haven't. I mean, Dalton had some impressive runs for sure in the late model ranks, but he's only run it a year, and ditto for William Byron. And now all of a sudden they're both going to be stepping up to K&N. It's a big step. And, they're going to, it's going to be interesting to see how these two adapt to this type of a situation with the full size cars and, a completely different tire and a whole different aspect of driving. I mean, William Byron's only been racing for a couple of years. So,
yeah,
this is going to be a very interesting group to watch. And I'm just thankful, to see that Harry Scott is able to still put this K&N program together. And I'm really excited that Justin Marks decided to dive in and help make it happen, because I think it's a great program. They obviously put great cars on the track this year, and really, we're a much needed addition to the K&N Pro E Series. So I'm glad to see it be able to stay strong.
I am too. And Tom, how about Justin Marks, a racer helping racers?
Absolutely.
That is a great story right there. I mean, we saw Justin do a decent amount for a little while in the NASCAR National Series ranks himself. He went away to do some other things, came back and helped Kyle Larson with a sprint car team, and now here he is helping Harry Scott with a K&N East team for 2015. It just seems like wherever you look, Justin Marks is the kind of guy who he helps out the racers, and these guys, these younger guys who were like Justin was when he first started, just needed a chance and would race anything, anytime, anywhere. Those seem to be the kind of guys that Justin really wants to help out in a big way, and I think it's great to see him be a big part of this. And I feel like, Tom, he'll be a great mentor for some of those guys as they try to get their feet planted during this 2015 season, because he's been there, done that.
Well, not to mention, he's also one of the principals at the GoPro Motorplex.
That too.
You and I were at yesterday. So, one of the nicest karting facilities in the entire country. We'll talk about that later. Kyle Magda, not to mention, again, when we're talking about Justin Marks, he's had a little experience with Turner Scott Motorsports.
Yes, he has. He ran both the nationwide race at Road America and Mid-Ohio. So definitely had some good showings in both of those races and contended for a top 10 finish both times, because he does have that road racing background, and like you said, Jacob, does have some of that experience running in the NASCAR National Series. So I think this is definitely a good move for that team. And like you guys, I could not agree more with you guys about that. A racer helping out racers.
It's nice to see. Now, real quick, too, H. Scott made news for a different reason as well, Jacob.
Yeah.
In a combined well, now Xfinity Series effort for 2015 with Chip Ganassi Racing. And so it's H. Scott Motorsports with Chip Ganassi. One car on the track, one car, split drivers. Right now, we know Kyle Larson's going to run races. We know Dylan Kwasniewski is going to run races. It did not say that there may not be additional drivers added to that. So we know at least there's the two of them.
Yeah, absolutely right. And for DK to be back, even in a part-time role for 2015, keep on the track, get some track time. Kyle Larson, of course, going to utilize as much as he can get with the rules package between Xfinity and Cup getting closer and closer. That's a good deal to keep a car on the grid for NASCAR's second-tier series in 2015, and I'm excited about it. I think it'll be fun, but what I'm also excited about is the fact that after this break, we get to sit down with the guy who made all the headlines over the weekend because he won the 47th Annual Snowball Derby. Right after this business, we talk with John Hunter Nemechek on an emotional and meaningful victory down in Pensacola, Florida at Five Flags Speedway. That's up next. First, these words. You are listening to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Hi, this is Jens Scott from Summit Point Kart in Summit Point, West Virginia. If you're looking for a real racing experience on a real racetrack, come out to Summit Point Kart this weekend. For as little as $25, you can get your racing career started. New this year, Summit Point Kart offers the RX 250 capable of over 75 miles an hour. We're open every Friday from 5 p.m. till 9 p.m., Saturday from noon till 10 p.m., and Sunday from noon till 9 p.m. For more information, go to our website, summitpointkartwithak.com, or you can call us at 304-725-5270. Summit Point Kart, your East Coast karting center.
In the race of everyday life, it's nice to have the green flag, but drivetrain problems are the pits. A fully remanufactured engine, transmission, or differential from Jasper Engines and Transmissions costs less than a new vehicle and comes with a 3-year, 100,000-mile nationwide transferable warranty. See JasperEngines.com for details and get the green flag in your race of everyday life.
See the boys at Chandler & Sons Automotive, 45977 Old Ox Road in Sterling. Give them a call, 703-437-7300.
Ever hire, never quit. Lofty goals in this age of shoddy quality, corporate indifference, and built-in obsolescence. It's a beacon of light in a crowded field of mediocrity. The way a company is run is an indication of how you, the customer, is going to be treated. You have a lot of choices when you're searching for auto and performance parts online and at the corner parts store. So why should you buy from Excelsior Racing? Because they're simply the best online parts supplier in the business. If you're looking for selection, ease of ordering, cost, and prompt delivery, look no further. If you have a question, our customer service hotline, staffed by knowledgeable gearheads like you, will ensure that you get what you need to fix or mod your car or truck. With 1,000 suppliers, you're guaranteed to get what you need. First time, every time. Excelsior Racing. Excellence on the track. Excellence on the road. Excellence in customer service. Online at ExcelsiorRacing.com or call 502-909-2034.
All I wanted to do was just pick up a guitar and sing praise songs.
From IamSecond.com.
Well, when I got to 17, I was playing in after-hours bars, just in a bunch of trouble.
Grammy Award winner Michael W. Smith.
Smoking that first joint and feeling so guilty about it. From there, it was LSD, and your compass sort of just like disappeared. I knew where I belonged. I just couldn't get out. I was very depressed. I went on the floor and just began to shake. And I was just weeping. I was weeping. And I just began to just cry out for God. 12:30 at night, on the linoleum floor of my kitchen, the God of the universe came and wept with me on that floor. I know where my hope lies. It's not being a rock star. I'm a son of the High King of the universe.
Watch Michael's story at IamSecond.com.
And now, back to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show with Speed 77 Radio's most follically challenged host, Tom Baker.
And I got all 5 of my hairs cut yesterday, so I'm ready to go here. Welcome back to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show. Tom Baker along with Jacob Seelman and Kyle Magda. Kyle Souza off today. He will be back hopefully on next week's program. But we'll still squeeze in some New England motorsports news before the end of the show if we can. We're we're looking forward to this next portion of the show because we've got a gentleman on, Jacob, who is a young man from a racing family who we have been a fan of for a while. And he just did a pretty big thing over the weekend. Who is he and what did he do?
Yeah, he did a little bit more than just a big thing. I think it might have been astronomical by
It
the
was,
time
yes.
it all started to sink in. But John Hunter Nemechek, I don't want to say shocked the world because I've been expecting something like this to happen all year long. Just been waiting on that big breakthrough, and I think he's finally hit it. And it's going to be fun to talk about. He won the Snowball Derby in spectacular fashion, and let's bring him out of the pits in full throttle right here on the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show with us. John Hunter, first off, of course, glad to have you back on the air with us, and congratulations on what I know is the biggest win of your career. I'm sure it still hasn't completely sunk in, but about a week removed now, 5 or 6 days removed, the magnitude of a Snowball Derby victory. Have you been able to process all of it and been able to start thinking about what it means for you at this stage of your career? I mean, you're the fifth teenager in a row to win the Derby. That's not an easy feat.
No, it definitely isn't. But really, it hasn't sunk in yet. It's still unbelievable. I really can't believe that we won the Snowball Derby, but it definitely is a hard feeling to come by. It's just a feeling that you can't really express. You just really don't have words for it.
John Hunter, Jacob alluded to the fact that, he's been waiting all year. We both talked about the fact that you've just done so well in the late models, really for the last couple of years. I mean, you've been so close to some huge race wins, and you've had some good stuff going on, and you've come close to championships, and you've won some. But this is just a whole other level. I mean, this is one of those races that is a once in a lifetime situation. It's just a cut above anything else. What's been the secret, really, to your late model program's development over the last couple of years? Is it just you? I mean, is it more that you just needed to be able to get used to the driving part of it, or is there something that you guys have got going on that has really helped that?
Well, there's been a lot of science involved, as we like to say, over the past year. We've been trying to invent new things and try new things just to help with our race cars. I mean, before we went down to the Derby, we were working 13, 15-hour days, just trying to get ready and trying to make new things before we went and tested, just to try and get ourselves better. I mean, we've been close to winning a bunch of late model races in the past 2 years, and we finally broke through this January, and we've been on a roll ever since. But it really comes down to staying a step ahead of the game and not falling behind, and that's something that we did last year in the late stages.
I was trying to get my brain to engage here, but didn't you win a piece of the Sunoco Super Series deal last year? One of the kind of the track championships or some part of that?
Yeah, I did. I ended up winning the Miller Lite Championship down at Mobile.
That's it. So I knew you had a championship under your belt. I just couldn't remember off the top of my head which one it was. But you came into this year, and I mean, like you said, you've been so close to breaking through with a win, but to go down there with about 65 or 70 cars and come through an entire weekend like that, and it was a long weekend, but you were just really, really good all weekend long. What is it like to participate, to be in the middle of a race like that where, I mean, the qualifying is just so nuts, and then the race itself is a whole other level? Talk a little bit for us about the intensity, because this is as big of an all-star type format as you'll find anywhere in the United States for a short track race, because everybody goes to it because nothing else is racing.
No, most definitely. So qualifying this year is the closest I think it's ever been. I mean, 2/10 would put you out of the field. So if you ran 16:20, you were on the pole, and if if you ran a 1640, you didn't make the race. That's how close it was. I mean, there was a lot of good cars down there, but all my guys, we all dug deep all week, no matter what happened. We had to overcome some problems, some mechanical problems, but one of the guys that was parked next to us, I can't remember what his name is, he ended up saying, "Dang, you guys have been thrashing all weekend, haven't you?" And I mean, we literally never stopped working all weekend. We made sure that car was right, and I really didn't feel comfortable in it. I didn't think we had the best car down there during practice or even in final practice. I felt like we had a good qualifying shot, but I didn't know about our race trim setup until we actually started to get going, and I could ride there, and we were staying up front. I really didn't know who had the best car during the race until the late stages, and I was nervous when that caution came out with 5 to go about who was going to take tires and who wasn't, and luckily we made the right call.
That's what I was going to ask you, actually. John Hunter was leading into those last couple of cautions, and even after that caution with 5 laps to go, then you had 2 additional cautions where it set up a couple of more restarts. And I know you said in Victory Lane on the TV broadcast that you just kept the eyes forward and never looked in your mirror the last 10 or so laps. But how intense, how nerve-wracking were those final 2 restarts from the driver's seat, knowing the position that you were in, and even the move to go basically 4 wide for the lead? How nerve-wracking was that from your seat, knowing what was on the line?
Tell you the truth, I was actually pretty calm. The guys were trying to keep me calm. They were asking me if I got any sleep or just trying to distract me from overthinking what I was doing. But no, we all dug deep. I never looked in the mirror. I had Jerry Kennan, my truck crew chief, up spotting for me, and he was cracking jokes and making us all laugh on the radio when we were coming to the green. And one of the things that I've lost races on because of is restarts. I've never been very good at them, and when we went and tested, we probably did over 100 restarts just because I told my guys if that's what it comes down to, I'm not losing a race on a restart. But no, I was pretty calm throughout the whole deal. I was kind of getting excited to where I was telling them that trying to dig deep and whatever happens, happens, but we're going for the win no matter what. And it ended up paying off very well.
Yeah, it definitely paid off right there, and I know how big this is for you. Good momentum going into next year with signing a new driver into the fold as well. But for you, you actually get to sit here now and say that you've done something your dad never did, because you've won the Derby now at just 17 years old, and your dad ran it back in the late 80s, and he could never win it. So you won up to the old man there.
No, I am. He was down there in Victory Lane. He was as happy as can be. I've never seen him smile so big in his life. He was definitely proud, and it was awesome to be able to have him down there to celebrate. He hasn't really been there for many of my wins, and to have him there for the biggest win of my career is definitely special.
I'm sure, and I know how much he's meant to your career over the last couple of years, John Hunter, and it gives you a good building block now going into next year. Going to miss a couple of the truck races at the very beginning, but it gives you a really, really big stepping stone for when you can take over the truck full-time starting, I think, around Kentucky, I think, is the first speedway race that they'll let you run next year.
Yeah, I think it is. To tell you the truth, I haven't really paid attention to it. I just know what my birthday is, and I've been counting down to that moment when I turn 18.
I definitely understand that. And John Hunter, I know besides your dad, so many factors, so many people go into this. And I think I heard you say it on Sunday night, but for this team, for the amount of work you guys do, this Derby win, how much does it mean for, not just for you, but for all those guys who put in the hours in the shop and who thrashed on this car and who made it possible? How much importance is this for all of them to bring the Snowball Trophy home?
Oh, it was definitely important. They were kind of dreading Sunday morning, not having any sleep after the snowflake, and none of us had really any sleep at all. And they said the only thing that would make this better is if we won the Derby, and we sure did it. But no, we thrashed really hard. Well, I shouldn't say thrashed. We worked for about a year on this race car before we actually took it to any racetrack. We spent the whole year building it, and it turned out to be a very great car for me. But it's undefeated right now. They were very thankful that we actually won the race. They didn't know what to think going down there, and especially thrashing all week trying to get it better. But them not having much sleep and us actually doing very good things with them, and they were all excited. I don't think any of them slept the next night either. I think we were all up for about 48 hours.
I'm sure you've still been catching up on sleep all week, John Hunter. But before we cut you loose tonight, definitely want to give you a chance to thank all those people that helped make this possible. And I know some of the sponsor support, too, came on last minute when you guys got down to Pensacola. So shout-outs, thank yous, who made it happen for you and the whole 8 team.
Yeah, I got to thank Mr. Larry and Miss Linda Funderburk from McDonald's for coming on board last minute. We didn't have anybody on the car, and they stepped up. They've been big supporters of me this year, and I can't thank them enough. And then Sid and Donna Malden, our actual truck owner and partners in the truck series, they've put a lot of time and effort and funding into me, and they've been one of my biggest supporters this year, and I can't thank them enough for all that they've done. But definitely have to thank my dad, my crew chief Alex Smith, Jerry Kennan, and all those guys.
Well, John Hunter, it certainly was pretty cool to see you grab that win, and I know how much it meant to you. Obviously, I've been watching you race since your days in the quarter midget cars years ago, and just seeing you come up through the ranks and accomplish what you have, and just really do yourself proud has been fun to watch. So, congratulations on all of that. And you might think about just taking that undefeated car and putting a nice coat of wax on it and hanging it somewhere. It certainly did its job for you. Good job on the win, and certainly wish you the best going into 2015. I'm sure we'll be talking to you again as we get closer to the season.
Awesome. I thank you guys for having me.
That's John Hunter Nemechek, and we are going to catch up and talk more about the Snowball Derby right after these words. You're listening to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports show on the Performance Motorsports Network.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
WinYourNewCar.com. Enter America's #1 dream car giveaway contest at WinYourNewCar.com. Complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free. Come on, stop dreaming, start driving with WinYourNewCar.com.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right, it's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette, it's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
Hi, this is Jens Scott from Summit Point Kart in Summit Point, West Virginia. If you're looking for a real racing experience on a real racetrack, come out to Summit Point Kart this weekend. For as little as $25, you can get your racing career started. New this year, Summit Point Kart offers the RX 250 capable of over 75 miles an hour. We're open every Friday from 5 p.m. till 9 p.m., Saturday from noon till 10 p.m., and Sunday from noon till 9 p.m. For more information, go to our website, summitpointkartwithak.com, or you can call us at 304-725-5270. Summit Point Kart, your East Coast karting center.
In the race of everyday life, it's nice to have the green flag. But drivetrain problems are the pits. A fully remanufactured engine, transmission, or differential from Jasper Engines and Transmissions costs less than a new vehicle and comes with a 3-year, 100,000-mile nationwide transferable warranty. See JasperEngines.com for details and get the green flag in your race of everyday life.
See the boys at Chandler & Sons Automotive, 45977 Old Ox Road in Sterling. Give them a call, 703-437-7300.
Did you know that birthday parties help build confidence in kids?
Yeah. Did you know that giving kids less sugar before bedtime helps them sleep better?
Oh, totally. Did you know that friendly kids have more friends?
Everybody knows that.
Hey, guys, did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
I didn't know that.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Packers.
Vikings.
Red State.
Blue State.
We come from different places.
Uptown.
downtown.
We come to different conclusions.
Half empty.
Half full.
But no matter how different we are, we're all connected, and we can all make a difference. That's why United Way brings people, expertise, and resources together to improve the education, income, and health of our communities, the building blocks for a better life. When we live united, our efforts, magnified by others, add up to real change. Children succeed in school, families gain financial stability, the health of our neighbors improves, and suddenly, so do our communities. But real change won't happen without you.
Live united.
So let's look beyond our differences.
Live united.
One by one, let's make a difference. Let's reach out a hand to one and influence the condition of all.
Live united.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Sign up today at liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Time for more of the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on PMN. Here's a man who's in great shape. Well, round is a shape. Give it up for Tom Baker.
Yeah, round is a shape, Tom. And I think we learned about shapes and sizes and carts. And, you had a little bit of fun over the weekend. And they made your shape fit into a cart, so it's okay.
Well, yeah, made the shape fit into the cart. The shape had a little trouble fitting into the fire suit, though. I realized I got to lose about 20 pounds to fit back in my fire suit again. But, oh well. Yeah, I had a great time, actually. That was fun yesterday. Went out, of course, to the GoPro Motorplex, which is co-owned by the aforementioned Justin Marks, and had a chance to take part, you and I, in the NASCAR Media Kart Challenge that they were having as part of Champions Week for the home track series and the regional touring series that's going on here in Charlotte, and just a lot of fun, man. That was it was a nice deal because it was very informal. All of the drivers that were involved, all of the champions from the various series, were extremely gracious and very available. And I have to say that Jason Chrisley and Tim Southers and the folks from that do the work for NASCAR home tracks really just put on a nice deal yesterday. And yeah, it was fun to go out with some of the other media guys. Kyle Rickey from MRN was the media champion for the race yesterday, and they made him add weight because he's such a lightweight. They made him add weight from the fact that he won last year. Apparently, they didn't put enough weight in his card. I think they need to add a little more because he still made us all look silly. But we just had a bunch of fun. That was the first time I'd actually had the chance to go there, Jacob, and that facility is just awesome, and that track is a lot of fun to race, and it's not an easy track. That's a challenge.
No, I was watching some of your laps and just seeing exactly how difficult it was. And I think you mentioned when we were there yesterday just how sensitive the brakes are with some of those corners. It's not an easy course. And, of course, the professionals made it look easy, but then that's their job.
Don't judge by me. I'm not a road course guy. I raced once on a road course when I was doing go-karting, and but my particular cart, I had a cart that had very sensitive brakes on it, and of course, I'm sure that if Ben Rhodes or one of the other guys that was racing yesterday, that one of the pros was listening to this, I'd say, well, what do you use the brakes for? But it was. It was just a real learning experience for me and very humbling as well. And it was fun just to go out there, and really I had no delusions of grandeur there. I really was more concerned with just enjoying the challenge of trying to figure out the track and be better at the end than I was at the beginning. And my last lap was my fastest lap. So that was fun. But, it was, again, a great time. And what a show those pros put on when they actually got to the Champions Race-Off.
Oh, absolutely. And I want to go back because you mentioned Kyle Rickey during the Media Champions Relay race. And Kyle Rickey ended up teamed with Anthony Kumpen. And I still have half a mind to look at Jason Chrisley and go, how is that fair? You pit the best champion that's there with the best media member that's there. I mean, how does that work? But yeah, Anthony winning his first race on U.S. soil. Of course, he's the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series champion from across the pond in Europe for 2014, and just was really, really happy to be here. Finished second in the race of champions, a race where, Tom, we watched Doug Coby, who led the opening lap of the race, and he punted Ben Rhodes going down into turn. I think it was turn 8. It's right around the technical section of the course. Punted Rhodes out into the gravel. Rhodes drops about 15 seconds behind the leaders. What does Ben Rhodes do? He drives back to the front in 15 laps, takes the lead, coming to the white flag, and holds off the pro road racer, Anthony Compton, to win the race of champions. Tom, I know it's before his time, but do we need to call him Danny Sullivan? I mean, let's go here.
Yeah, he did a spin and win, and that was really a lot of fun to watch. I mean, Coby, of course, Coby and Andy Seiss were the two that were up front at that time, and with Ben, and Coby made no bones about the fact that he dumped him. And,
he said to me after we got done, Tom, I looked at him and I said, Doug, were you the one that dumped Ben? And he looked at me with a grin and said, absolutely, I was the one that dumped him. But I mean, come on, those guys are modified guys. They're used to using the chrome horn, or I guess in this case, the rubber horn.
That's what he told me. I said to him afterward, I said, that was a great takeout. He goes, it was a modified takeout. It was it just was a lot of fun. Those guys all had a good time. Anthony Anders, who of course is the NASCAR All-American Series champion for this year. Anthony's a pretty big boy, and he was joking about the weight disadvantage and all of that, but those guys just had a great time, and it was neat to see. You had drivers from Europe, you had a driver from Canada, you had the short track Southern guy, you had the short track Northern modified guy, you had just quite a diversity, and then you have this kid, Ben Rhodes, who comes from Kentucky and is just a young buck compared to most of these other guys, and he ends up beating them all, and it was just a great time. That was a lot of fun, and like I said, it got the events of the week off to a good start. There are 2 awards dinners tomorrow night and Saturday night, one each for the All-American Series and the Regional Touring Series, I believe is how they've got it split up. And just, like I said, a great time. We had a ball there.
Oh, yeah, we did. And you mentioned Anthony Anders on the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series side, Tom, and we're actually going to get to hear from him coming up here in just a couple of minutes. So you and I got a chance to chat with the 2014 champion for the Whelen All-American Series, and for being a big boy, he was very lighthearted, and he was fun to talk to. I enjoyed that, and he had a lot of fun things to say, Tom. And I'm it's enjoyable to hear some of these short track guys because they're the faces we don't always get to see and get to hear from, and the chances that you do get to talk to those guys, it makes it really worthwhile. And Anthony, he beat Lee Pulliam, who's one of the greats in the Whelen All-American Series system, so it just meant a whole lot for him, and a lot of emotion behind that title for him as well.
Yeah, it really did, and always fun to see, and to get to know each of these guys too, because you really don't spend a lot of time around a lot of them, because especially with the ones from outside the U.S. But that was just a really eclectic group, and we're gonna have more about that as we continue our show here. We're going to step aside for a moment, be back with much, much more. We still got driver interviews, all kinds of good stuff to talk about. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on the Performance Motorsports Network.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
In the Pits Media is proud to present its newest partner, WinYourNewCar.com. That's right, you now can enter the #1 American Dream Car Contest giveaway at winyournewcar.com. Complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free, delivered to your door. Come on, stop dreaming, start driving with winyournewcar.com.
Did you know that birthday parties help build confidence in kids?
Yeah. Did you know that giving kids less sugar before bedtime helps them sleep better?
Oh, totally. Did you know that friendly kids have more friends?
Everybody knows that.
Hey, guys, did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
I didn't know that.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hands can do incredible things. They made every sound in this piece of music. But nothing compares to using them to help save a life. If an adult suddenly collapses, call 911, then push hard and fast in the center of their chest until help arrives. It's called hands-only CPR, and it's recommended by the American Heart Association. Visit handsonlycpr.org today. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Car problems? You can trust your local Cotman man. Cotman has a 40-year history as a leader in car repair and making happy, satisfied customers. Whatever's wrong with your car, SUV, or truck, Cotman will check it out free using state-of-the-art diagnostic equipment. Don't take chances with your car. Bring it to Cotman and let your local Cotman man show you why they are America's transmission and total auto care experts. Visit Cotman.com to download money-saving coupons. Cotman. Real service, real fast.
You know that phone call is going to come at the worst possible time, right in the end of the game. Fourth quarter, fourth down, and 1 yard to go. They're piling up, but you can't watch that. You got to get that car off the road. This could have been prevented if you have taken advantage of Cotman's free TransCheck 21. Here's a chance to have us look at your car and head off any problems that could happen that could interrupt that game. Again, it's a free check. Come see us.
See Leonard and the fine folks at Cotman of Manassas, 9113 Mathis Avenue in Manassas. Give them a call at 703-365-7200.
All I wanted to do was just pick up a guitar and sing praise songs.
From IamSecond.com.
Well, when I got to 17, I was playing in after-hours bars, just in a bunch of trouble.
Grammy Award winner Michael W. Smith.
Smoking that first joint and feeling so guilty about it. From there, it was LSD, and your compass sort of just like disappeared. I knew where I belonged. I just couldn't get out. I was very depressed. I went on the floor and just began to shake. And I was just weeping. I was weeping. And I just began to just cry out for God. 12:30 at night, on the linoleum floor of my kitchen, the God of the universe came and wept with me on that floor. I know where my hope lies. It's not being a rock star. I'm a son of the High King of the universe.
Watch Michael's story at IamSecond.com.
Now back to Speed 77 Radio, Stock Car Steel, SRI Motorsports Show, and more Thursday night race talk. Here's your host, Tom Baker.
Welcome back to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show. Tom Baker along with Jacob Seelman and Kyle Magda talking motorsports on a Thursday night. We were just discussing some of the proceedings at the NASCAR Media Kart Challenge yesterday out at the GoPro Motorplex here in Mooresville, North Carolina, that was a way for the media to have an opportunity to mingle and also race karts with the various champions from the NASCAR Regional Touring Series and also the home tracks champions as well. Jacob Seelman, we've got Anthony Anders. We had a chance to talk with Anthony yesterday. Now, we need to set this up a little, Jacob. Anthony, of course, the NASCAR All-American Series late model champion, based down here in the Southeast, runs at a few of the tracks in South Carolina, and superb racer, just runs very well, has been around a while, and really has tried hard to get one of these championships. And there's a bit of a quirk in the system that NASCAR uses to determine the points champions, and Anthony Anders took a little bit of advantage of that, not unlike what other champions have done in the past. But Jacob, you and I had a chance to talk with him yesterday, and he addressed that directly.
Yeah, he did. And Anthony, his home track is Greenville Pickens Speedway. He also ran at Myrtle Beach Speedway, Anderson Motor Speedway, and Hickory Motor Speedway over the course of his season. 30 wins in 51 starts. And he took advantage of a little quirk in the rule book to help the car counts out at Greenville Pickens. And it is a quirk that several drivers, including Lee Pulliam in years past, I believe, have taken advantage of. It's one of those situations where you play the game to the rules that you're given and the cards that you're dealt.
Exactly.
Anthony Anders did that better than anybody else, and it gave him the 2014 Whelen All-American Series championship. I feel he's extremely deserving. It was fun to get a chance to talk to him. He's been doing this for 20 plus years, and to finally have this jewel in the crown was so important to him. And Herm Edwards, you play to win the game. That's exactly what Anthony did.
Win the game. Yeah, that was
you play to win the game.
That's right. You play to win the game. And we had a chance to talk with Anthony yesterday, and I'll share something with you after we hear the interview. I'll share something that he told me afterward yesterday. But let's hear what Anthony had to say.
Anthony Anders, the 2014 Whelen All-American Series national champion, made a lot of marks at Greenville Pickens Speedway and tracks across the Southeast. Anthony, first off, welcome to the program, and incredible season for you, beating out some of the best Lee Pulliam, guys like Ryan Priest from the Northeast. What a season for you, though, at Greenville and beyond. Talk a little bit about what this has meant for you, this run to the title, and it's been a long road for you to finally get this one, I know.
Yeah, it's just another goal accomplished that, we've set year in and year out. And, to win many of these races we have this year with the Hawk and McCall Motorsports up there has just been overwhelming to us. And, we've won races in the past, and we've won a bunch of races in the past. But be able to go to be competitive at, 2 or 3 local tracks around us, close to us, and especially with Anderson Motor Speedway going sanctioned with it, made it really easy for us to not have to travel so far. Really it turned the table for us as far as what we needed to, accomplish this title.
Talk a little bit about, because I know between Greenville and Anderson, those are your 2 primary destinations for 2014, but you visited a couple of different tracks this season, and I know it takes a little bit different quirks to each one of them, but as the season went on, what did it take for you guys to really put this run together, bouncing back and forth between some of the different tracks you visited?
Well, as we started, we was winning races pretty often right out the chute, and being able to go on some of these off nights that we wasn't racing, like at Myrtle Beach, and winning the races down there. We rolled up there 3 times, won 2 out of 3 with a second place finish down there. And then again, we went up to Hickory and raced twice up there, a second place and a 5th place finish up there. But just by being, doing it at my home track was biggest thing. I've raced there for a long time, very comfortable with the track. And, being able to pull that many wins together there, won a lot of races back in 2011. I think we won 13 races there out of 18 races that year. But car count was way down. And with Anderson going sanction and being able to, put those 2 tracks together and win all those races together, it just really was great for us to be able to pull this thing together for this national title.
Obviously, a little bit of controversy, in the way that it all unfolded as the season went on. Talk a little bit about that. How would you address that?
Yeah, something I address it very simple to us. I've not did anything different than any other racers did to win a national championship here. When I started looking at this title, as far as a national title in 12. Kind of pulled out of our home tracks and went and raced other tracks and kind of just saw some things unfolding, and then put together a 13 run here and kind of paid attention to what was going on. If a lot of people really wants to really see how it really unfolded, all you got to do is go to the websites and see where certain people run, and if they wasn't there, see how many cars they had in the field. It's just that simple.
Before we cut you loose, I know getting ready to put the helmet on and go run the karting challenge. Any sponsors, supporters you want to thank, Anthony?
I tell you what, Outback Steakhouse has been there for me for, 4 years now. And, it's just a love of racing for all these years, of the 18 years I've raced. I've been part of home tracks for 18 years, and I've won many, many championships. I've won 4 consecutive states now, 4 consecutive tracks. Anderson went sanctioned in 11 when I won it, but I won 3 different ones in a row, But to put everything in perspective, just all the promoters, NASCAR and Willens, everybody, it's been a blessing to us.
Go get the helmet on. That's Anthony Anders' 2014 Whelen All-American Series national title.
And you know what, Jacob, when we talked about the controversy, he told me afterward that he understood as it got down to the wire. He understood what was going on and what he was doing, and it was not lost on him that he had hoped that maybe what was going on there would lead to a change. He said, I really, there was a part of me that was trying to hopefully bring about a change in that, in the rule that basically allows you to put 3, 4, 5 cars, in the race or whatever. And he feels like there could be a better way. And I think, judging from what he was sharing with me that I won't share on the air, it sounded to me like perhaps we could see a change in the way the points are done. And, but I don't want to delegitimize any of the past champions because, again, as you said, Jacob, the rules were the rules and those guys did what they had to do to win titles. But ultimately, Anthony feels like there could be a fairer way because, again, if you go across the country with the All-American Series, for example, up in the Northeast, the guys that are running at the NASCAR short tracks up there and running for this title, they run heat races. The program's different than it is down in the South, for example, where, they run time trials and start the fast guy on the pole every week. And so it really, I think that it is certainly, if this can bring about some discussion that leads to a more uniform way of paying out points and setting the whole thing up so it's the same all the way across the NASCAR home track spectrum, that can only be better for the future.
Oh, absolutely. And that's admirable, what Anthony told you and the change that he's trying to implement there, Tom. It's admirable that somebody of his stature and now a champion of his stature wants to see that change enacted to make it even better, even fairer, make the series even better going forward. I just, we talk about champions being people who work their part to make the sport a better place. That's one of the marks, in my opinion, that I feel like somebody who is worthy of the title of champion. And I think that's what we're seeing from Anthony Anders. And I have a lot of respect for that, Tom. I really, really do. And I absolutely, like you said, don't want to delegitimize his title or any of the titles of the guys that have come before him at all, because, again, they played the hands they were dealt, and they played it better than everybody else. And Anthony did that. He gets to celebrate his title on Friday night at the All-American Series banquet. And from what he's told me as well over the last couple of months, it's going to be a very emotional speech as well. He's worked 20 years for that trophy, and 20 years worth of emotion going to go into that speech, from what I understand.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, it certainly is a situation where you have a gentleman who teamed up with, of course, he was racing with Hawk McCall, so a fantastic race team, that's won many things and been very successful. And for him to go out and win the championship was, something that meant a lot to him personally, and really, after 20 years, gives him a small measure of return for all that he's put into it. So Congratulations to Anthony Anders, and thank you to Jason Chrisley and his entire group, Tim Southers, everybody involved in putting this whole thing on here this weekend. Just doing a great job for all of us in the media and helping us to have access to these guys. It was an awful lot of fun meeting the drivers from out of the country yesterday, and seeing some of the drivers that we don't get to see too much of, like Doug Colby, because we're Southeast based down here and don't get up to the Northeast much. So that was a fun deal. So thanks to everybody involved. And we're going to switch gears again here in just a moment. We're going to hear from JJ Haley. We're going to talk about NASCAR K&N, and we're going to talk H. Scott Motorsports and see what JJ's got going on next year with that organizations. We will be back with more of the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on the Performance Motorsports Network right after this.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
Enter America's #1 dream car giveaway contest at winyournewcar.com. That's right, winyournewcar.com. Complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free delivered to your door. Come on, stop dreaming and start driving with winyournewcar.com.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right, it's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit. Make a plan. Be informed. Learn how at www.ready.gov. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Ad Council.
On the air, you may know me as the man about motorsports. Actually, I've been the man about insurance for over 30 years. With one call, I can cover your life, health, auto, home, and business insurance. Recently, I saved a young couple over $500 on their annual car insurance bill. No gimmicks and no green lizard. So if you think your insurer is really your good neighbor who is on your side because he is holding your money in his good hands, think again. Call me, 703-631-8000. I have dozens of insurance companies waiting to give you the protection you need and deserve. It may take more than 15 minutes, but you'll receive sound advice, quality professional service, and an honest opinion. That number again, 703-631-8000. Ask for Larry O.
Did you know that birthday parties help build confidence in kids?
Yeah. Did you know that giving kids less sugar before bedtime helps them sleep better?
Oh, totally. Did you know that friendly kids have more friends?
Everybody knows that.
Hey, guys, did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
I didn't know that.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected.
Coming to Tampa Bay, I said we want to win a Super Bowl, and I believe we will.
From IamSecond.com.
We came close, but never really did win that championship.
Former NFL head coach Tony Dungy.
At the end of my 6th year, I was fired, and it was one of the biggest disappointments of my life. Next year, I'm in Indianapolis, get to the playoffs, but get knocked out again. And for the next couple of years, it's the same thing. Everyone is saying Colts are never going to win one. And I did wonder, why didn't it pan out the way I thought it would? But I determined that I had to have Christ first, and that everything else came below that, including my own desires. The next year, that ended up being our year to go to the Super Bowl and win it, and it was a wonderful feeling. Every decision I make, I'm going to make it through the lens of Jesus Christ, and He'd guide us to that ultimate victory.
Watch Tony's story at IamSecond.com.
Now, back to more with Tom and the Speed 77 radio crew. It's the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Welcome back to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show. I am Tom Baker. I am joined by Jacob Seelman and Kyle Magda tonight, and we are rolling through a couple of hours of motorsports conversation. And We are joined now by a very special guest this evening. In fact, a returning special guest for the second week in a row. We don't do an awful lot of that here on the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show. But again, the news wire has been buzzing over the last couple of days with a lot of announcements, and looking forward to talking with this young man once again, because he finds himself at the center of a pretty big announcement that has been released, and let's get him out here to talk about it. J.J. Haley, welcome back to the program, and congratulations on the big news that you will be among the quartet of drivers who are going to be competing in the H. Scott Motorsports with Justin Marks stable in the K&M Pro E Series next year.
Thank you. Glad to be back here, and it's always good to be back on the show. I love this show, and I love what you guys do.
Well, we appreciate that. We enjoy talking with you as well. And first of all, before we get too much into the future, let's back up for just a bit, because now we are post Derby here, post Snowball Derby. Talk about your weekend down at Pensacola.
I had a lot of fun down in Pensacola. It was my second year in a row, and it was my first attempt at the Snowball Derby. I felt like we had a really good car down there. Just, didn't have as good as luck as we needed to, and, just needed some all-around help with speed. But other than that, I thought we laid down a really good lap in the Snowflake race and qualifying. But that rain delay really kind of changed the track conditions, and I believe that the track, got a little bit faster right there in the center of qualifying. We still made the show, qualified P30, and they took P30. So, we at least we made it. We had some bad luck. And, I felt like if that rain delay when it came, we probably would have been an easy top 10 car. The Derby, we really didn't. We qualified where we expect to qualify, but 52nd, not really where we needed to be. But we definitely made it up in the last chance race. But I had some bad luck there in the closing laps, and I think we definitely would have gotten the race. We went 19th to 5th there, and a matter of not very many laps, and our car was really hooked up in the LCQ. So just some bad luck all around in the weekend, but I felt like we gave it our best effort, and I'm looking forward to going back down there and running the Derby in 2015.
Well, that's always, as we just talked about with John Hunter Nemechek, that's always a grind that weekend. I mean, it starts on Thursday and just never gets any easier, especially if you're running both the Snowflake, which is for the Pro Late models, and the Snowball Derby itself, which is for the Super Late models. The work just never really stops.
Yeah, definitely. Honestly, I ran two cars, but I never even got in the Pro car till Saturday afternoon. A few hours before I qualified it. I had Daniel Hemrick hop in it. He's a real good buddy of mine. And, he shook it down for me. He was kind enough to do that. And he found some speed in it. So we just kind of put it back in the trailer and focused on the Derby car, because that was our main reason why we went down to Pensacola. And the Flake was just kind of an off race for fun and a little bit more seat time. And I actually got in it. I really liked how Daniel had set it up and everything. And I was really happy with how the weekend went.
Yeah, JJ, I know you told me you were pretty happy with it overall, and it's really good to hear. And you mentioned the Flake, and you mentioned how it was kind of an off race. It was an off race, all right, for more reasons than one. You got what I applaud as the tweet of the night from down there in Five Flags, because it was a little bit past your bedtime on Sunday morning when that race finally started.
Yeah, well, I didn't even know there was a tweet of the night deal. I don't know if they just made that up or if it's actually a thing. So, no, I was actually in the hauler. I was on Twitter tweeting, trying to keep myself awake because, whenever I take a nap, I never wake up 100%, and I'm not fully aware. So I was really trying to stay up so I could, venture on to that race being 100% where I needed to be. And I was tweeting, and I think I said something about it's definitely past this kid's bedtime. let's get this show on the road, hashtag Snowball Derby. And a few minutes later, I guess I was the tweet of the night. I heard it on the announcer said it, so I thought that was pretty cool.
It was a lot of fun, JJ, and definitely one of those moments where you just kind of look at it and smile. But obviously, after this weekend, you get to look ahead now to this new deal with H. Scott Motorsports and Harry Scott, Justin Marks. And you and I have talked about it a couple of times here earlier today, but you've got to be just beyond excited about what 2015 is going to bring because, as you and I talked about earlier today, this is the first time you're going to get to run for a championship since your quarter midget days.
Yeah, definitely. I've always wanted to sit down and run a championship and win a championship, but my parents and all my mentors and supporters have kept me going pretty fast, and I actually thank them for that. It's gotten me to the point where I'm at now, and I definitely appreciate that. I think this 2015 season is a great opportunity to really show what I can do in the long run, with one team and one opportunity. So, I'm extremely blessed for the opportunity. I just can't wait for the season starter to start up.
JJ, of course, with the 2015 K&N East schedule about to come out, what is one track that you're looking forward to racing this season?
I'm definitely looking forward to going back to Dover, but I'm also looking forward to do the road courses for the first time. I think that'll be pretty exciting.
Because you're not a road course racer, JJ. That's going to be a little bit of a new experience, something that you're not used to.
Yeah, I've never really done any road course. I guess go-karting, if you call that road course. But a few years ago, before my grandpa passed away, he got me a school at Road Atlanta and a Skip Barber Formula 2000 car, and I went down there for a 3-day test and kind of learned the basics of it. So I know a little bit about it, but I'm looking forward to putting some more skills on my resume for road course racing.
And it's a big, big day for you because not just you get signed to this new H. Scott team for 2015, but you're going to have some pretty great teammates along for the ride too, especially a guy like Scott Heckert who's coming back to the team for a second year in a row. How much are you going to be leaning on somebody like Scott who's been through this before, and even a guy like Justin Marks who's helping out with the team who's been a part of this NASCAR deal a whole bunch over the last couple of years? How much do you think that's going to be able to help you as far as your learning process next year?
I definitely think it's going to help a lot having supportive teammates. Scott Heckert actually came from a road course background, and me and Heckert got to know each other pretty well at Dover, and we're pretty good buddies now, and I'm looking forward to that. And William Byron, he's a great guy. We talked at Pensacola quite a bit, because he's friends with Hamrick, and we all kind of hung out in the group. And Dalton Sargent, he's a wheelman too. So I'm just looking forward to having those three guys team up with me.
What are you most excited about for this new season, JJ? I mean, you got a lot of new tracks, a new car, a whole new experience. What are you most looking forward to when we get this kicked off in February?
I'm just most looking forward to being in a NASCAR program, period. Being a short track driver my whole life, it's such a big opportunity. I'm so blessed to run in a NASCAR series, whether it be, Sprint Cup or K&N. It's all big to me. So I'm super pumped about running in the NASCAR series full time.
I was joking with Tom. I said, you haven't stopped bubbling since the press release came out. But, JJ, I know there's a lot of people that go into this deal, and a lot of people I'm sure you want to thank. Who makes it happen for you and the team?
All my sponsors and my family, Harry Scott, Justin Marks, everybody that's helped put this deal together for 2015. I just can't thank everybody enough.
It's a big, big deal, JJ, and you kick it off at a track where you're very familiar. You ran Speed Weeks down there last year, and I think you and I were talking, it might just give you a leg up for that opening K&N race. Maybe go out and show them how to really run that new Smyrna Speedway.
Yeah, definitely. I ran the 7 nights. I'm not quite sure what they call it, but the 7 very tiring nights at New Smyrna last year. I got quite a bit of laps, some laps at New Smyrna, so I definitely think that'll help when it comes down to it.
It's going to be fun, JJ, and glad to have you back on here. I know how excited you are about finally getting to be able to talk about this new deal. So we appreciate it as always. Looking forward to seeing what you can do when we get to Speed Weeks, and just appreciate your time once again. Have a safe holiday, and we'll see you in February.
Thank you. I love being on the show. You all have a safe Merry Christmas and holidays, and look forward to talking again soon.
That is JJ Haley, and now with that, we are going to shift gears one more time. We're going to stay in the snowflake frame of mind, and we're going to hear from Garrett Jones about his Snowball Derby weekend coming up here in just a couple of minutes. You're listening to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on the Performance Motorsports Network.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
Enter America's #1 dream car giveaway contest at winyournewcar.com. That's right, winyournewcar.com. Complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free delivered to your door. Come on, stop dreaming and start driving with winyournewcar.com.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right, it's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit. Make a plan. Be informed. Learn how at www.ready.gov. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Ad Council.
On the air, you may know me as the man about motorsports. Actually, I've been the man about insurance for over 30 years. With one call, I can cover your life, health, auto, home, and business insurance. Recently, I saved a young couple over $500 on their annual car insurance bill. No gimmicks and no green lizard. So if you think your insurer is really your good neighbor who is on your side because he is holding your money in his good hands, think again. Call me, 703-631-8000. I have dozens of insurance companies waiting to give you the protection you need and deserve. It may take more than 15 minutes, but you'll receive sound advice, quality professional service, and an honest opinion. That number again, 703-631-8000. Ask for Larry O.
Did you know that birthday parties help build confidence in kids?
Yeah. Did you know that giving kids less sugar before bedtime helps them sleep better?
Oh, totally. Did you know that friendly kids have more friends?
Everybody knows that.
Hey, guys, did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
I didn't know that.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected.
Coming to Tampa Bay, I said we want to win a Super Bowl, and I believe we will.
From IamSecond.com.
We came close, but never really did win that championship.
Former NFL head coach Tony Dungy.
At the end of my 6th year, I was fired, and it was one of the biggest disappointments of my life. Next year, I'm in Indianapolis, get to the playoffs, but get knocked out again. And for the next couple of years, it's the same thing. Everyone is saying Colts are never going to win one. And I did wonder, why didn't it pan out the way I thought it would? But I determined that I had to have Christ first, and that everything else came below that, including my own desires. The next year, that ended up being our year to go to the Super Bowl and win it. And it was a wonderful feeling. Every decision I make, I'm going to make it through the lens of Jesus Christ, and He'd guide us to that ultimate victory.
Watch Tony's story at IamSecond.com.
Now, back to more with Tom and the Speed 77 radio crew. It's the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Welcome back to the program. We are racing along on a Thursday night here, talking about racing of all kinds here tonight. We've kind of run the gamut in terms of cars with hoods, so to speak. We've gone from short tracks to NASCAR to go-karts even during the program tonight. It's always fun when you can zip through the racing world, talk some street stocks and all kinds of good stuff. But Jacob, we are going to continue our conversation about Snowball Derby and talk with another up-and-coming driver that we've had on the show in the past who we always enjoy talking with. A lot of fun anytime he comes on.
Yeah, I think this is actually the first time this year that we've gotten the chance to have
Is
him
it
on,
really?
and it's one of those moments where I look at it and go, he's done so much. Yeah, we had him on last year after he won the track championship at Five Flags Speedway, and now basically a year later we get to redux that. But 15-year-old Garrett Jones made himself quite a showing during Snowball Derby weekend, and I'm sure has got himself a nice little bullet point to add to the resume now after a podium finish, got third in the Snowflake 100. So it's been fun. And I know for you, this past weekend was really enjoyable. You got to run both races and got a top 3 finish out of it.
Oh, yeah, man. It was definitely a lot of fun. And, thanks for having me on the show again. I don't know why we don't do this more often. I can't believe it's been a whole year. But, yeah, we had a pretty good snowball week, and I'm pretty blessed about it. I think we had a good showing. We didn't have the qualifying effort we needed in both cars, but I think all in all it all worked out, and it turned out pretty good.
It definitely worked out well for you. And how tough was that finish in the Snowflake, though, running it at almost 4:30 in the morning, and yet you come home third? It couldn't have been easy. How tired were you at the end of that one?
By the end of it, it wasn't very tiring. It was the 8-hour wait before it that really got me down. It got tiring about 30 minutes before that race, but I had an electric fuse and got ready for it. But we had to start in the back, so I knew I had to put the lithiums on and get to it. And we had a really good race car, one of the best I've ever had there. And I got to thank Kelly Byers and Mike Adner for that. They gave me one heck of a piece for that race. And
yeah, I was going to say, if running that race wasn't enough, Garrett, at 4:30 in the morning, you ran from 36th to finish third. So it wasn't just a good car, I don't think. I think you might be understating that just a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know. We had a great race trim car with the Pro, and our qualifying trim it lacked a little. I think we got next time we go test down there, that's all we're gonna test that with that car. We started 36 and wasn't sure how it was gonna turn out. I wasn't sure what the car was gonna be because the qualifying had me spun out pretty big, and so I got in the car and went and we got the green flag, and I started picking off a few, and we dodged a few wrecks, and that really got the blood pumping, and we got to the top 10, and it was like, wow, we might have a pretty good piece here. And we got to third, and the 2 leaders were just too far out front. We needed a caution there at the end to give them a run for our money. But we had a heck of a car, that's for sure.
Well, pardon me, that race is really one of the races that I obviously think anybody would like to have the trophy from. You obviously got very close to it. Talk a little bit about the weekend for you in terms of you had that extra long wait. Does that change anything that you do once you finally get in the car? I mean, the track is a tough enough track to get a hold of anyways, as hard as it can be on tires. I mean, does it change anything at all when you have to wait that much longer and the weather and the temperature is that much different?
Well, we got rain. The qualifying was delayed from the rain, and so we got started qualifying late. And we were around 16th when it started raining again. And we didn't know if the track was going to pick up or slow down when it stopped raining. They said they were going to run it that night, so it was just a matter of time when everybody else went out. And I think it definitely picked up about half a tenth or a tenth. And we luckily we had the LC or the provisional. We didn't have to run the LCQ. So so we started shotgun on the field, and we weren't sure how it was going to play out. We ran the LCQ for the Super, and after that, it was whenever they could get the LCQ for the flake car in. So it was just a matter of time. It didn't change a whole lot for me. I've raced there the last 2 years, and sort of used to the way how the track changes. But man, it changed a lot that day, and it was definitely a fun event field day.
Well, I would have figured that, and especially given the extra delay that they had with that long truck race, and then you've got to get in your car and go try to run. It just makes for a really, really long weekend, and definitely hard, I would think, even to stay sharp mentally getting on the track at that time of the morning.
Oh yeah, I got a little sleep in between. I was lucky enough to get a little sleep early enough, but I had a few minutes before the race to wake back up, and just running it that late, it surprisingly didn't have that much of effect on me. It was after moving into Snowball Derby day that was a tiring day for sure.
Yeah, I can imagine. Let's talk a little bit about going forward now. What does 2015 look like for you right now?
We're not quite sure yet. We got a couple things in the works. Me and Kelly Byers, we haven't decided what schedule we're gonna run yet. We like the Southern Super Series. We like that whole format and with the Super. And I haven't ran the Super as much as the Pro car, so I definitely think that's going to be our main focus this year. And it's just a matter of where all Kelly wants to run and what we can do as far as the operations behind it, getting the car ready and that type deal. Because we definitely want to go prepared. And I think that's going to be our biggest thing this year is we're going to be there prepared. We're not going to be there with stuff coming off the car, that kind of deal. So me and Kelly, we've talked about it a little bit, but we're right now we're in the off-season stage. We're getting the cars ready for next year, and we are looking at schedules right now.
And it's where I know you're looking at 2015, but you've still got to take some time, I'm sure, to celebrate the rest of what happened and what you've done this year, and even going back a little bit further than that, the Pro Late Model Track Championship at Five Flags and come from behind a little bit to repeat that effort in 2014. I mean, what a last 2 years it's been for you in Pensacola, and you've relocated now to North Carolina, but still making the trek and still making it happen. It's just really been impressive to watch. Have you, Garrett, have you been able to let that sink in a little bit?
Oh yeah, I mean we've had a pretty good showing down there at Pensacola the last 2 years. Last year we were fortunate enough to be the track champion, and that was just a really cool deal all around. And this year we got off on a bad foot. We had a blown motor in the first 100 lap or the first points race down there, and that really got us that behind on the year. And after that we got 3 wins down there, and that was my first 3 wins, and they were all just about back to back in that Pro car, and that's how we caught up. But we missed it by 1 point to Johanna. She raced hard all year, and she just had she was on her A game the whole time. It was funny. In 2013 when I won it, I didn't win any races, and we had the most second place finishes out of any car there. And this year we had 3 wins, but we had a blown motor the first race, and we got wrecked got in a wreck, I should say, one night. And that point system down there is all about consistency with those double features every night. It's you just have to be really consistent. You have to be there at the end of each race.
Well, we definitely are excited for what you may have going in 2015 and to see where it takes you, Garrett. You've certainly done a fantastic job this year, and I know you and Kelly will sit down and go through the schedules and make sure that you have put the best possible scenario underneath yourselves for next year, and we're excited, and hopefully we won't wait a whole year to get you back on the program. Maybe you'll go out and win one early. It'll give us the excuse to get you right back.
Oh yeah, man! I love being on the show anytime. I'm always free after a race. It's pretty cool. I love doing this kind of stuff, and I just gotta thank everybody that's helped me: Kelly Byers, Mike Abner, and the whole crew. Mark and Jared Fryer, and Dave Billings, Mike March. Just it's been a fun year, and I can't wait to get back at it in 2015.
Well, Garrett, again, thanks for taking some time to be on with us tonight, and we certainly wish you and your family and your whole racing team a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we'll look forward to talking to you in 15.
Thank you. You have a good holidays too.
That's Garrett Jones, and when we are going to step aside, when we come back, we are going to continue with more of the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
WinYourNewCar.com. Enter America's #1 dream car giveaway contest at WinYourNewCar.com. Complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free. Come on, stop dreaming. Start driving with WinYourNewCar.com.
Car problems? You can trust your local Cotman man. Cotman has a 40-year history as a leader in car repair and making happy, satisfied customers. Whatever's wrong with your car, SUV, or truck, Cotman will check it out free using state-of-the-art diagnostic equipment. Don't take chances with your car. Bring it to Cotman and let your local Cotman man show you why they are America's transmission and total auto care experts. Visit Cotman.com to download money-saving coupons. Cotman. Real service, real fast.
You know that phone call is going to come at the worst possible time, right at the end of the game. Fourth quarter, fourth down, and 1 yard to go. They're piling up, but you can't watch that. You got to get that car off the road. This could have been prevented if you have taken advantage of Cotman's free TransCheck 21. Here's a chance to have us look at your car and head off any problems that could happen that could interrupt that game. Again, it's a free check. Come see us.
See Leonard and the fine folks at Cotman of Manassas, 9113 Mathis Avenue in Manassas. Give them a call at 703-365-7200.
Media sales professionals with agency experience. If you're frustrated with your current position, unrealistic quotas, and inept management, if you're a sales machine and you simply will not take no as an acceptable reply, if you're looking for a rapidly growing company with unlimited sales potential for commissions in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, if you're searching for a high-tech, forward-looking, laid-back, but extremely professional organization who appreciate your skills and dedication, we have your next opportunity. Scorpion Radio Group is building a sales team of self-starters who are motivated. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444 or email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. That's 717-749-0444 and ask for Sue.
Hi, this is Jens Scott from Summit Point Kart in Summit Point, West Virginia. If you're looking for a real racing experience on a real racetrack, come out to Summit Point Kart this weekend. For as little as $25, you can get your racing career started. New this year, Summit Point Kart offers the RX 250 capable of over 75 miles an hour. We're open every Friday from 5 p.m. till 9 p.m., Saturday from noon till 10 p.m., and Sunday from noon till 9 p.m. For more information, go to our website, summitpointkartwithak.com, or you can call us at 304-725-5270. Summit Point Kart, your East Coast karting center.
For 17 years, Stock Car Steel has been a leading materials supplier to the racing industry. Now they're also an official motorsports content partner of Race Chaser Online. The biggest names in NASCAR trust Stock Car Steel for all their raw materials, such as carbon steel, chrome moly, DOM, aluminum, plastics, and much, much more. You can't build a race car without the basic materials, and Stock Car Steel is the place to get them. Don't forget to also visit visit Stock Car Steel's sister company, SRI Supplies, for racing and industry. SRI is your number one source for all your shop supply needs. Nuts, bolts, rivets, tapes, adhesives, cutting tools, chemicals, body shop supplies, paint shop supplies, lubricants, and more. A well-stocked race shop is a winning race shop, and the road to winning begins with 3 letters, SRI. For more information, visit StockCarSteel.com and SRI-supplies.com. You can also find them on Facebook at Stock Car Steel and Aluminum, or call either company toll-free at 1-888-752-7272.
Now, back to more with Tom and the Speed 77 radio crew. It's the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Welcome back to the program here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Tom Baker along with Jacob Seelman and Kyle Magda having some fun talking racing on a Thursday night on the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show. And gosh, Jacob, could we possibly cover any more stock car ground than we have tonight?
It's been a lot of ground that we've covered tonight. I mean, we've covered the Cars Tour. We've covered the K&N East Series. We've covered karting. We've covered, good grief, we've even gone back to the national level a little bit. The Snowball Derby, the Snowflake 100. I don't know what else there is to cover. I mean, we're getting to the point now where next week we get to start filling out our Christmas lists and rehashing a bunch of championship seasons and kind of have our year in review, because it's getting about that time. But you're right, Tom. Even when it doesn't seem like there's a lot going on, there's a lot going on.
Definitely is a lot going on. And, you know, we've talked about some of the stuff that's happening in the short track world and then touched on some of the stuff that's going on in NASCAR and still more happening out there. Kyle Busch Motorsports announcing some crew chief changes here today. And as they get ready to shore up their teams for the 2015 season, and still the Bubba Wallace saga goes on. No official word of where Bubba's going to be going yet in 2015, and I'm actually a little surprised by that. Well, it's what we all think, but as our cohort at Race Chaser Online, James Pike likes to say, not until you see the press release. Yeah, so I mean, you would assume, because there seems to be usually where there's a little smoke, there's a fire, and you know everybody's talking about the fact that it seems like it's going to be Roush Fenway, and I think we even have heard some speculation of Chad Norris being the crew chief, and basically it being the remnants of the sixth team, that Trevor's been driving. So I don't know, just interested that it hasn't quite all come together yet, but my suspicion would be that if in fact this is what's meant to happen, that the reason it's being held up is probably related just to the putting contracts together and sponsors and things like that, because a lot of that, just the legal process, could take a little while.
Mm-hmm. That it can, Tom, and we've seen that. But what we've also seen with the whole Bubba Wallace saga is a saga that I actually presented on a little bit earlier this afternoon, and I think it's one of those things that you look at and it bears a minute or two of discussion, and it's just the fact that these youth that we see coming in and just absolutely inhabiting some of the lower and middle ranks of NASCAR. I mean, it's all well and good, but when you get up to the top 3 series level, when you get up to the big time, there's either nowhere to go because you're locked out from veterans, or if there is somewhere to go, like Bubba, the money's just not there. And it's bizarre to me because you've got guys like Bubba, like Ryan Blaney, who, as Kyle Busch, I'll quote him from a couple weeks ago, he said, these guys are the most marketable guys in the sport, and yet we can't find sponsorship for them. It's just puzzling to me.
Well,
Kyle Magda?
I agree with that. I'll let Kyle get in here in a second, but I want to add something to that, because you mentioned something that I really hadn't thought about. because it just kind of gets lost in the shuffle of everything else that's happening news-wise, but Ryan Blaney still doesn't have a full-time ride in anything, though he's going to be racing almost every weekend, Kyle Magda, because he's either going to be running for the Wood Brothers on the Cup side, or he's going to be running as part of the Xfinity Series driver group with Penske in the 22 car. So he's probably going to get to race almost every weekend, but just not in the same series. And that is a little bit shocking, honestly.
When you look at the deals for Ryan Blaney and possibly Darrell Wallace Jr., like you said, Tom, Ryan Blaney will probably be running almost every single weekend. And another big news nugget today was Cale Conley going over to TriStar Motorsports in the Xfinity Series. I know Jacob and I were talking that, was it the right move? I don't know. That's why they chose him. So he's going to run full-time in Xfinity because Cale Conley was running part-time for Richard Childress Racing. And pretty much with Austin Dillon coming back in, running more Xfinity Series races. They're in the 33 car next year, and having probably Brandon Jones split the car with them. I mean, not really any room for Cale Conley there to run part-time.
Not really, Kyle, and it's one of those things where unshockingly, Tom and I are on opposite sides of the coin yet again. I'm not convinced that the Cale Conley move was the right one, but Tom, you're more convinced than I am that it just might pay off some pretty big dividends by the time everything is wrapped up and done in 2015.
Well, I think it's just the fact I've been around it for a quarter of a century, and I see the way the long-term business thing works. First off, he had very little choice because Austin Dillon decided he was going to run a fairly hefty slate of Xfinity Series races this year. And there's a method to that because now NASCAR, because they've taken horsepower away from the Cup side and basically now have done things to make the Xfinity car and the Cup car virtually the same car. I mean, when it comes down to it, they're very close now in horsepower. A lot of it's the same. And so you can't blame Austin Dillon for this. You're going to see more of this moonlighting again, I think, until NASCAR finally decides to stop it. And so I can't blame Austin. What you learn on Saturday will more help you on Sunday in 2015, especially without testing now than it has in the last couple of years. So Cale Conley got frozen out by basically just the system. And so when Cale looks at where am I now? Well, naturally, if he can take a full-time opportunity and go run every week and be at every track and in a seat at every race, if he can just get 100% out of that equipment, then that increases the likelihood that he may catch on again in a better situation in the future. And TriStar, he could do much worse than TriStar. TriStar will be a good place for him to go and prove himself and just get that experience week after week that he needs. So, yes, I definitely think of the choices that he likely had, this is certainly a choice that lets him be around full time. Now, that comes back to the bigger, I think the bigger subject that you raised, Jacob, was the youth movement in the sport and how they get to the top level and then end up kind of getting stuck, or in Cale's case, getting frozen out in the RCR equation. And, it's a catch-22. If NASCAR wants to stop that, then they have got to change the rule about Cup drivers running in the lower series. If they do that, you'll start seeing more of these young guys getting shots again.
Yeah, I mean, and that's very true. It's just one thing that we'll probably continue to debate until either NASCAR stops it or the end of time. But one of those moments where you sit probably and just kind of look. Yeah, I know, right? Kyle Magda, any final thoughts from you?
I think when you talk about that with limiting Cup drivers, I mean, the first step they did was, of course, making a driver just check mark off to go and compete for one championship. I think that was a big step in the right direction.
It was a big step in the right direction. It's something that we're going to keep an eye on all the way through to next season and beyond. But for right now, I see a checkered flag in our future, and I also see one more week of us getting to speak our minds and talk to drivers before this is done. We will be back with the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports show next Thursday night on December the 18th. It's our season in review show. We get to talk to a bunch of champions and have a lot of fun. Christmas lists and all that for our drivers getting ready to go into 2015. But for all of us, Kyle Magda, Tom Baker here at the round table, Kyle Souza being off tonight. We'll see him next week, I'm sure. But all the staff at racechaseronline.com and the Performance Motorsports Network, we invite you to check out our partners at Stock Car Steel and SRI Supplies. For all your shop supply and scrap metal needs, go to stockcarsteel.com or sri-supplies.com. And for all of today's racing news and yesterday's racing history, check out racechaseronline.com for driver interviews, stories, and a whole lot more. But right now, I'm Jacob Seelman. For the Performance Motorsports Network, race fans, keep it off the wall until we meet again, and we'll see you at the racetrack. Until next week, good night.
You've been listening to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on the Performance Motorsports Network. Tonight's show is brought to you by Stock Car Steel and Aluminum and SRI Supplies. For all of your racing needs, visit stockcarsteel.com and sri-supplies.com. Keep up with the latest motorsports news every day on Race Chaser Online. The Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show is a copyrighted production of the Performance Motorsports Network. www.performancemotorsportsnetwork.com, a member of the Scorpion Radio Group, Inc., and may not be rebroadcast, replicated, or saved in any media without the explicit written permission of PMN. Check out our Facebook page or our section on the PMN website. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host, co-host, and guests, and do not necessarily reflect those of the management and ownership of either the Performance Motorsports Network or Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated, the advertisers, or the marketing partners. Be listening again next week for more great motorsports programming right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.